Welcome to Inside Straight. I'm Larry Mazza, your host. My wife Kelly, co-host.
Good morning.
Actually, good afternoon. We're running a little late today.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
But we're here. It's Wednesday's a tough day. We were telling Brandon, our first Pillar production manager and owner and friend. Producer. We got him here a half hour longer than usual, so I wanted to apologize to him. And I'll do it on the air just like that, even though he doesn't need an apology. He told me already. He's very
Did you thank our guest?
No. We want to do that too. You're right. I want to thank everyone who keeps watching. We're getting more and more viewers, and we want to thank the people who are joining. We're so happy to have you, and for the most part, it's been profitable. We're getting a lot of good feedback, and what I'm going to do today, at some point, I'm going to go through our comments first. I'm going to try to help you utilize the website properly, because it's pretty complicated. There's different things going on. But instead of talking about every single game every week, I want to give you a good analysis of how to use it, or just to properly use it so you could reap the benefits. Comments?
I have to get them a little closer.
Okay.
Brendan's still working on my teleprompter. Okay, Gigi from New Jersey. Tennessee and under, wow.
Obviously, I think he means the volunteer. I'm sure he means the volunteers in college. Yeah, that was spot on. It was probably one of the better picks of the year, if not the best. Most of the square bettors or average player, you're going to jump on Alabama like they always do. That game, to me, was a definite under game. And the difference was, and I mentioned it in the comment, Tennessee's defense will come up big. They did. They won the game 24-17. I predicted 27-20. So they won by 7. It was right around the number I said. It just played out to my exact analysis. There was no wise guys on the game. It was Inside Straight's play all the way. And that, along with Georgia. Georgia was another one. If you listen to the commentators, they're just building up Texas like they're the best team in history. But in my analysis, I said they beat Louisiana Monroe, they beat UTSA, they beat a bunch of lower level teams. They did not get their feet wet against a real SEC team until Oklahoma, who was not that good. So they beat them the way they were supposed to. I said in my analysis, Georgia will give them a nice welcome to the SEC, and they shellacked them. They even took out Quinn Ewers, who was one of my Heisman Trophy guys, and put a big dent in his NFL potential by benching him.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a big game. It was a real big game. So those two games, thank you for bringing up Tennessee. But Georgia was another great one.
Okay. MJ from Florida. We want more horses.
Yeah, so do I.
But winners.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We've had a couple of weekends. We did great one weekend. The next weekend we had, I think, 2 winners out of maybe 5 races. But again, in horses, one good race can cover your whole day. So we've been doing at least that. We do have the Breeders' Cup coming up. We have things in the pipeline. And we also have the Meadowlands kicked off. And as that season gets going, there are certain racing series that we're very good at, and we'll be doing a lot of Meadowlands, always flats too, and again, it's weekends. So if you're not watching Friday and Saturday and Sunday probably even more so, but Friday and Saturday, because that's when the Breeders' Cup will be part of it, the first half. But they'll become more and more, and we don't force anything. If I don't get any good calls or good prices, I don't want somebody to call me and say, hey, Secretariat looks good today. Gee, thanks. I want good prices, and when they give me those, I'm passing them along.
Those are usually found in your blog.
Yes, very good, because I don't know that we're ever going to have a horse page. We're still improvising the site. I like the blog. You got to read the blog, because sometimes I put information in there that is up to the minute, very important, or I'll elaborate on things that will help you even if we don't put an actual play in the box, in the picks page. I did that the other night. We had...
I think it was Thursday night. Was it Thursday night for the games, or was it?
Well, Monday night football. No, Monday night we put the picks in. We'll get to them at the end because those were solid NFL picks. But there was one that comes to mind was the under in the first half of Washington State in college. Came in very late. And again, that's where our email alert and tell them you're close. I know you're close.
I'm very close. I'm very close.
Yeah.
I just can't. I haven't figured out how to do it fast enough. So
Okay.
that's.
Yeah, because
I'm
sometimes
working with the programmers. It seems like I have a little more back end stuff
Mm-hmm.
to do to get it out there, and that we have to fine tune to where.
So when this game came in, it was something I respected because I had said that in my analysis of the game that Washington State was a big play for us. And I had them 3-goal bars because I had them 14 and a half. And when I saw the line maker had them like 19 and a half, I said, whoa. I says, he's got to know something because I thought I was high at 14 and a half. And I said that game could get ugly. It did. Washington State won about 44-7 or something like that. Again, without the teleprompter, I can't remember every score, but it was something like that. It was a big win. And the wise guys who bet under the first half, I said, that makes sense because I did not think Hawaii was going to be scoring that much and it was going to get ugly. So we put that out on the blog. So if you had gotten on the blog, you had plenty of time for that because the game came in, a few hours earlier, you would have had that winner too.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay, so we have Bibby from Staten Island.
Oh, he sends some beauties.
I couldn't pick my nose. Laugh out loud. Now I expect to win.
Well, you're utilizing it properly. Then if you check out the analysis, check out the wise guy games, you're going to be ahead of the 8 ball. You're not going to win them all, and if you expect to win or you get cocky, you'll get kicked right back down to earth. Gambling will do that. The gambling gods will get you. Or I go into every day, every weekend. I did this when I was a bookmaker years ago. I do it now. I go into every game like I'm down to my last 2 nickels. I'm serious about every game. I want to win every game. I'm not I guess I'm a sore loser. But I'm also a sore winner. I'm not even happy when I win. So I'm very, very focused, very, very driven by being successful in this industry.
Okay, FS from Tampa. Love the over on Monday. Thanks.
I got that at the end later. I was going to talk about it, but we'll mention it now. Yeah, the Tampa Bay game, the wise guys took the over early in the week, so I put a couple of asterisks next to that. Became a big gold bar play, whether it was 3 or 4, I don't remember, but it was a serious one because we agreed 100%. We said neither defense could stop the other side. Also, and Tampa had some injuries to receivers, so it hindered them slightly, but they still scored 31 points. Baltimore scored 41. I said the last team with the ball would win. That's an expression meaning it's up and down, whoever has the ball at the end. And it was close to that, but it wasn't, the outcome wasn't in doubt. My income was, but the outcome wasn't in doubt. You knew Baltimore was going to win. And I was shading towards Tampa being at home and in a shootout like that. But Baltimore, they've turned it around. And I had them in my Super Bowl box. So I'm not surprised, but they're putting it all together. They're a serious team, that Baltimore team.
Okay, Wayne from California. Please keep Kelly on.
Who's Wayne? I want to know. No. Oh, well.
Oh, well.
No, well, listen, she's not going anywhere. It's nice to see people enjoying her, too. I enjoy her company, so I'll keep her on the show.
Okay. Election day is soon. Know my 2 cents?
Election day is soon. And I could, listen, I could do my 2 cents every week. I should, and it shouldn't only be on politics. I'm very opinionated, whether it's sports, movies, things like that. You know, like new movies coming out, like The Irishman when it came out, and I was in it, people asked me a lot of questions about it. But I'll say, well, what color am I wearing? I'll be wearing this until the election. No. Here's what I'll say. You know, in one of my 2 cents, I said, you want to vote for who's best for you, who's going to better your situation. And we're starting to see some things that are peculiar. Like, I got to just say it. You know, I've been seeing a lot of this. One side, well, Kamala Harris wants to give 20,000 to every black man. Did I hear that properly?
You did.
I did. Okay, let's think about that for a second. Is that degrading or is it degrading? I know a lot of black guys. They're as dignified, as classy, and all races have the opposite of that. There's a lot of white guys I don't even want in my presence, so it's not, but there's that are going to take that the wrong way, especially when she says she wants to, they can open a weed shop. Is that the best thing they can do? I mean, that's terrible. And this Obama is like backing that, and to me, it's racist. You're going to give 20,000, give it to everybody. Don't pick out a race that you're trying to buy.
I think they have to now because you can't. Then it becomes almost buying votes. So
well, that's what I'm saying. She's bribing them, and they, and again, years ago, maybe there was a time when they were a little behind the 8 ball in the real world, and that's unfortunate. There was a lot of races that went through it. I mean, everybody had their problems. We've said that in the past. Theirs was no joke. Neither was the Jews. And when Hitler did what he did, there's a lot of times in this world where certain races had problems. And they're way beyond that now. I mean, you could just mention zillions of, successful, forget sports. There's a bunch of successful ones there, but they're on news now. They're on sportscasting. They're lawyers. Look at Johnny Cochran. I mean, it's endless. So for them to do that, that's almost desperation. And it's reflecting in the point spread, which, we'll talk about another time. So my 2 cents would be that, again, vote for what's best for you. If she offered me 20,000, it's not changing my vote. I could tell you that right now, because it's not going to change gas prices. It's not going to change grocery prices. It's not going to change the border. It's not going to change the wars around the world. Her giving me 20,000.
Well, it's also going to, everybody has to pay for the 20,000, so that's
right.
going to reflect in
Right.
taxes.
Everybody, you're right. They're not paying. It's coming out of our taxes or other successful black men's and women's taxes. Correct. So that would be my 2 cents if I was on Facebook. I would be ripping into that thing about giving one race money. That's a bribery. Mm-hmm. That's my opinion. And you brought something up the other day that you said there's a whole new class of.
Yeah, they're called Henrys.
Yeah, Henrys. Yeah.
You kind of go with what did we have? Yuppies. We had all kinds of things. Well, these are the Henrys. These are the high earning, not rich yet group.
High earning, not rich yet, Henry.
So, but they're high earning. I mean, their base salary starts at $250 and higher. They don't have any savings. They don't own any property. They don't have, homes. They're actually spending as much as they're making.
Well, that reminds me of some wise guys that I grew up with. I mean, we made a lot of money, and nobody was really thinking about the future. Nobody was thinking about buying real estate. Well, I shouldn't say nobody. I would say a large percentage of mob guys were that way. There was always that handful that thought a little different and were more mainstream and more successful in the grand scheme of things.
Right.
But, my boss, for instance, Greg Scarpa Sr., when I tried to come to the table with something legitimate, his answer was, I hate legitimate businesses. He didn't want no part of them. Zero. He hated them. Well, not to go too much down that way, but I do understand that. Like I said, I was around that. So that's a whole new class of people that, and okay, that's good. That's good on that. I mean, I don't want to drill that into the ground. It's a good point.
No, right.
Yeah.
You could do my 2 cents on that because there really is some backstory to that.
Yes.
And a lot of them feel, a lot of it's coming because they don't have children. So they're like, who am I going to leave the money to? Who am I going to leave my house to? So they're like, I'm not even going to buy it. I'm just going to enjoy the money I make. But then there's the other side that can't afford by the time they pay their taxes, pay for child care, even though they're high earners, they have very little left at home to be able, to put away and get the dream.
Yeah, it's true.
Okay, enough said on that.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about last week. I said at the onset, I don't want to sit here and go through every game anymore. It's unnecessary. We have members now. They're going on the site. They can see my record. It stays up there. They can see the analysis. It stays up there. They can see all these podcasts if they want to go back in time and hear what I said again from the past. So you will see I give a lot of games. There are places that don't do that. And to them, it's more, if you saw the movie, what was it called? Not My 2 Cents, the movie. Two for the money.
Two for the
Two
money.
for the money. All they did, you called up and got maybe, on the old phone days, a message. Tonight's 5-star play is the Dallas Cowboys. Don't you hang up and you go bet money on Dallas. They're not telling you why. They're not giving you any info. So I never joined them. I never paid attention. And I don't know if they're giving half the country to the other team. So they're always going to be 50%. It's more like a pyramid scheme. You know, you're always giving somebody a winner, so you can go a long way with that.
Right.
I don't do that. I'm on here looking you in the eye and telling you why I like a game. There's a lot of wise guy games. If you see the games, the list I give you, they win more than the average person wins. If I give you a bunch of games with an analysis, I'm not even going to count the gold bars because there's a lot that goes into that, especially if a wise guy plays it, and I agree, that pumps it up. If I disagree, I still may make it 3 stars or gold bars because they're playing it, or vice versa. So when you read the analysis, and I'm glad the first comment we got was Tennessee and under. If you're reading everything that's put out, I don't know how you could not play Tennessee and under. Because if you played anything but, you don't need to be a member. Okay? Seriously, if you went and bet Alabama or Alabama and over, that's what the rest of the squares bet. Okay? So you gotta, if you listen to the analysis and see the wise guy plays, you'll zero in. You'll zero in on them. Like I said, Georgia. I bring that up because that was a big pick. I mean, there was like 70-something% of the public on Texas. That was to me was what a underdog parlay that was. You know, $500 would have brought you back like normally 500 would bring you back 13. This would have brought you back like twice that. And look at the teams you had: Tennessee 5-1 and Georgia 5-1. It's not like I was a far stretch, but I did the analytics. I laid it out there for you. So read all the analysis. There was another game where, and again, sometimes I'll take a team and go against the wise guys.
We annotate that.
Yeah, we let
do.
you know that.
We let you know which is an IS pick and which is the wise guy pick.
IS stands for Inside Straight, obviously, and WG, wise guy play. We'll separate, absolutely. What was the word you just used? Antidote that? Antidote? You said something. She's smart. That's why I married her. No, that's not why. It's not even her cooking. I'm very shallow. It's her looks all the way. Now I lost my train of thought. Where was I?
And what did I say?
No, in the analysis, we will make it clear whether it's a wise guy play, an IS play, or both. You got to weigh that. Like Monday night's game. Let's go a little ahead. I'm gonna, because we've been fantastic with the pros. I mean, it's just really better almost than I've ever been. Maybe because of this, and I'm that much more serious. Because the pros, I found it hard to handicap. I found it hard to be consistent. All of a sudden, that's not the case. You know, college is still good. I'm proud of what I've done so far. But the pros, which I'm going to get into right now because it's been phenomenal. If you would have read my blog, there was a 9:30 in the morning game, Jacksonville. I hope there's no more London games. It's hard enough keeping up. But Jacksonville, if you read the analysis, I said the difference in that game would likely be the quarterbacks. And it was Trevor Lawrence's first really good game. And, New England is New England. They had a decent defense, but I have been downgrading their defense. I listened to the publications, and I listened to early on commentary. and my numbers said that New England had a good defense. It's not as good as we all thought. And they proved it that game, if ever. They just ran all over them. But we put you on Jacksonville in the blog. Go read it. Seattle was a wise guy play. I think I agreed, but I didn't press my agreement because, the line was 3, and I had Atlanta right about the same. So I says, all right, but I'm going to give you two wise guys played it. So that was a good game, Seattle. The Buffalo game, same thing, in the blog. I said the line's about right. It should have been 10. Tennessee showed up. They played a good first half and lost. But my analysis and what we wrote would have swayed you to Buffalo, if anything. Cleveland, I wrote in the blog because that was a pick of mine. And I had to work real hard to make it a winner. I'm going to tell you why. The line was 6. And I liked Cleveland at 6. But I would have loved them at 7. That's the touchdown. And a lot of places, because I was right, had 6 and charged you a premium on the underdog. Because they were the sharps out of Vegas and the islands were swaying you really a little bit again. They wanted to charge you a premium on the Browns. Mm-hmm. Okay? So I got lucky later on. I found the 5.5 where they were charging a premium on the favorite. So it turned out where I was able to buy 2 points. Now, I didn't do this for everything. I lost my original play. I found a couple of 7s where I was able to get down. But I got one where I bought it up to 7.5, and where it would normally cost about 150 on 100, it only cost me about 130. So to me, that was valuable. And the game landed on 7. That's the diligency. That's where you have to understand certain numbers. And I worked hard to get that. I can't claim it as a big win because really if you're out there and you can only get 6 or 6.5, it's a loser. But there was a lot of Cincinnati money too, even though the sharps were on Cleveland. I took over in the Green Bay game. It looked for sure like it was going over, but again, remember what I told you about overs? Every time they missed a field goal or they fumbled inside the 20 and it happened, or they had to settle for a field goal, they got to about 45 and the total was 49. So, but it's a loser, and the funny thing there is the wise guys took the under. And I could not do it. I was pulling my hair out saying, why? What do they see that I don't see? Maybe the line was inflated. Maybe it should have been 47 and they knew that. So, but you would have known that the wise guys took under, and I would have told you, I'm not putting my money on under. But they did. So.
Can I interrupt you for just 1 second? Yes. When you're going to the site, every time that we update, I do not update the same weekly pick. So you might see 4 or 5
blogs.
No, of the weekly of
weekly
teams.
Picks.
Right, and sometimes you may change a team halfway through. You start out with it as a 1 bar, and then later in the week you change it to a 3 bar. Yeah. So I had somebody ask me this question: why does it say week 7 and you have 5 or 6 weekly picks? Either they're new games on the weekly picks, or they're updated, and I don't want to go over what was said earlier in the week.
Right.
So you can go through the whole week and see if his opinion has changed.
There was buybacks.
Right, changed back and forth, or what's changed. So that's the reason you'll see college having, and the same with NFL.
Yeah.
One, there's a lot of games for college to put on. Mm-hmm. But then again, we don't go back and change anything that you said earlier in the week. So you can read your thinking through.
There may be 7 or 8 entries for the same date, like college football 10/26, college football 10/26, college football 10/26. We may improvise on that down the road, make some additions or whatever. But yes, there may be 8 different times that Kelly goes on and puts on 3 or 4 games or 5 games or 6 games.
And some of them may change what you thought earlier in the week on a game.
And the blog changes too. We add blogs throughout the day.
Right, and I try to say those by PM, AM, PM, those kind of things. But that's why you see multiple ones there. And sometimes it just, as he does the games, it's later in the week. But
it moves fast.
Right, and when you go inside, you'll see the date of the games and everything for that weekend or that week.
Okay. Indianapolis Colts, they were a big play for us. So big that some outfits out of Costa Rica took my advice. I told you I'm a consultant some places.
Yeah.
And I told them, put a half a point on that. You got it at 3. Miami, the whole world knows. I mean, even if it's that game that bites you, or the wise guys grab the other side, who cares? You know everybody is going to be betting against Miami. They have no quarterback. The coach himself said he's got the worst backup in history. You know, he's setting himself up for failure with a statement like that. So they put the half a point on, and lo and behold, the wise guy saved them. Because they'll take that 3.5 if it's the only one in sight. Because the right line was 3. So that was a big, big play. Indianapolis Colts. They only won by 6, I think. But they won. They covered. They were losing early, but second half they won. Eagles. Same thing for the Giants. Who in their right mind, even Giant fans, are betting the other team now? Because they want to enjoy the game. It's that bad. The team is that bad. So why make it 3? I told them, put a half on. They did. Once again, wise guys took the 3.5, and all it did was save them some money, because you are not going to stop the onslaught of people the average person going against. That's why I never was afraid to take wise guy action. In all those years I was involved, I welcomed it. And I told you, I didn't tell you, I told you and you, the one thing I learned from Billy Walters, but I always took it anyway. I took the games on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I didn't care. I mean, I cared, but I knew I was going to utilize it. But he stressed it in his book, and it's one of the good points I got out of it, was that you're out of your mind not taking the bet on Monday. You got the whole week to get the other side. And that's what happened there. They put the half on, and I saved their day. Under Kansas City was my own pick, and it came out. It was a tough game, for the most part, against San Francisco. And I, as much as I dislike Kansas City because they always hurt the house, and I've said several times they seem to get the calls and they seem to get something. They're sweethearts, whatever. I guess there's teams over the years in different sports that's happened to. So for me my comment was, I don't know how the 49ers are favored. They were favored by 2. And I could have taken the position, well, the line maker knows more, but I learned my lesson. with Mahomes and Kansas City and everything else, I didn't. And I said, I made that comment. I don't know why they're -2. So that was, again, if you're reading my analysis, I gave you the under and why they're -2. I almost gave you the whole game. I gave you the under and, if anything, Kansas City. Conversely, I had the Jets. In my analysis, I told you, I had Pittsburgh -4. They're 4-2. The Jets are 2-4. They're going into Pittsburgh, one of the tougher venues to play at. Pittsburgh's always a quality team, great organization, year in and year out, even when they're transitioning. Why were the Jets favored? How dare that line maker make the Jets -2? They got a new receiver that had 3 days to prepare with the team. I said, now again, he played with Aaron Rodgers a lot. So, well, for many years. So they probably didn't need much to get on the same page, so to speak. But you still had to overcome a coaching change. Your defensive coordinator is now the coach. The Jets' defense was good, but now he's trying to run the whole team. And you're hearing more of this now. I had it in my thoughts already. I'm saying now he's not the coordinator anymore. And now the Jets can't stop anybody. So they might have put him back there and hire Belichick or somebody, or one of the coaches that are out there. They made a mistake, and their season's on the way down. But I got sucked into that line, and it kills me because and again, it's in the analysis, you can read it. I had Pittsburgh -4. So that one hurts me, that I went the other way and I listened. Because like I said, Kansas City, I said the same thing, but I didn't listen there. And then we went into Monday night's game. Monday night was fantastic. Wise guys bet over early in the week, so I was able to handicap the game right away. And I agreed more than wholeheartedly because I was betting with both hands. You don't know limits. So that may be, maybe like $50, $75. But I was betting with both hands on that one. I love the over. It was one of the easier wins of the season. The one thing I put in my commentary again, I said, the home team on Monday night has a really good percentage of winning. So if I swayed you that way, I apologize. I love the over. That was the 4-goal bar play. But my thinking was, if it was really truly the last team with the ball, Tampa getting 4 points, they could have lost by a field goal. And they had a chance at the end. It could have landed on a field. It could have, would have, should have. But over was the play. In the next game, it was the L.A. Chargers. Under the game. I picked under. That was mine, and it was solid. It was never in doubt, and it won. The wise guys took Arizona. I was teetering. I said, I can't. So what I did was I took a teaser, Arizona and under. I wanted to give them a little something. I had to follow their play, and I like the under. So if there's not a lot of points, the teaser's a decent bet. I'm not going to tell you to go bet teasers every day, but there's a time and place. And that one worked out perfectly. However, and I didn't see the game, I fell asleep. The Chargers had a shot to win. They lost by 2. They could have won by 1. If they had done that, I would have had a big middle. Because even though I followed with Arizona, I like the Chargers. And there was some buyback from a really sharp group out of Iowa. I met them on one of our visits to Iowa years ago to one of the casinos. And they're a big sports book out of Costa Rica, but they have a casino behind them. So I respect their plays, and they came back with the Chargers. And that was either way. And from what I'm hearing, Harbaugh, as good of a coach as he is, he mismanaged the game at the end, and they could have won. But again, wise guys took it. I told you. I didn't like it. That doesn't matter all the time. I'm just letting you know that because I'm the star of the show. I got to let you know that. No, I just couldn't put that. I couldn't put a lot of money on Arizona. But I told you, I did the teaser, and I loved the under, and that was good. And my real good positive for tonight was I parlayed the over in the first game with under in the second game. So that was a nice parlay. Let's move on to next week's. More importantly, there is a hot play on the Liberty game tonight. It came in. You're going to have to log on to see that one. Tomorrow we got the Vikings-Rams. They're starting to play that. I don't have a decision yet. I'm going to handicap that game in the morning. I wait to see. If a wise guy plays it, I handicap it immediately. Otherwise, I have a system. I do the 12 o'clock games on Saturday, and I just work my way down. I do have a new system. That's a little faster, I think, where I do a conference at a time, so I'm not constantly looking for my papers. I get that conference done. So it's been a little quicker, but if a wise guy plays it, it takes precedence. I got to go do the game. I want to know why they bet it. Okay, so we'll see about that. There's a really hot play on Syracuse-Pittsburgh. I believe that's Thursday also. Friday night, here's a little comp play. The wise guys are on USC. I've got the number about what they have, but I will give you this. It's something that I've been doing the wrong way. All these teams from the West Coast that have joined the Big East,
right?
I'm saying they got to travel all the way to the East Coast. It's probably not as hard doing that, right? Don't you get the extra time that way? I get confused with that. Okay.
Yeah, if you're going West Coast to East Coast, yes.
So now, Rutgers, who I've been touting, and I'm pissed at them because their talent level is better than their last 2 games that they've been just sleepwalking through. They have to travel all the way to USC.
They lose 3 hours.
They lose 3 hours. So it's probably, I got to probably factor that in more. If I factor that in a little, if I factor that in a little bit more, we'll figure that out. That's probably why they went against Rutgers, because they're traveling all the way to the West. No, it's hard to go there. It's harder to go to the West Coast.
Yeah, but when
it always has been. Don't worry about the time. It always has been harder to go to the West Coast. That's the key. Whenever somebody was traveling to the West Coast, we heard about it. We heard about the jet lag. We heard about their playing earlier in the day than they used to play in, or later. But I know it gets me confused too.
Yeah.
So, but it doesn't matter. The point is they must have factored that in, that Rutgers has to go all the way to the West Coast and play USC. So maybe that I have, if I'd have factored that in, maybe I would have had a little bit more than 14.
Right, because they would be thinking it's 5 o'clock at their time, but they go there and it's really
Well, let's say the game is 3 o'clock
right,
in our time.
right. So then it's 11 o'clock.
No, 3 hours.
12 o'clock.
Right, it's
In
12
California.
o'clock there.
In California.
Right, so the 1 o'clock game's on Sunday. If the
Right.
Giants are going there, it's like they're playing 10 o'clock in the morning. Because when I'm in
Correct.
Vegas, those games are at 10 o'clock.
Yes.
So that's you got to wake up and go on a football field. You can't
Correct.
have coffee. You can't have a stretch. I mean, they do. They get there at Amplitude. But so it is. It's a bigger disadvantage going that way. That's
Right,
the
'cause
key.
right.
So that's probably why they jumped on them.
Now that we've solved that.
Okay, I have a gold bar next to Louisville, and it's an IS play. It's just me. So that's a comp play right there. Louisville, but you're going to probably want to go on and read the analysis. I'm not sure exactly why I have them there. The other one, I had a little something written down. But again, because I don't have the teleprompter. That
Brandon, we gotta make
keeps,
that up.
you keep promising me a teleprompter, and I'd be able to look at the camera more instead of reading and looking at you for help. I can just look at the camera, for crying out loud. Okay, there are a lot more games on Saturday, as you know. So you'll get that list, and they're already going out. We put some out this morning. There'll be some more later. Just stay on and
Right.
read the analysis.
Well, you have a blog out already today.
And we have a blog out too. Baseball, I'm having a hard time, and I'm going to tell you why. I look for something that the general public doesn't know. Everybody knows Aaron Judge is on one team, Ohtani's on the other. Everybody knows their lineups are phenomenal. Everybody knows both teams have no pitching. So everybody knows there's going to be a lot of runs scored until they get on the field. I'm trying to find a reason to find value. I don't know how I could, at this point, how I could bet any game under with these two lineups and the pitching. I don't see how. If the total's a 10, yeah, then I could see how, because they got to get to 11 to win. 6-5 games, you don't see a lot of those. But if it's a typical 7.5 or 8 like World Series are, even 8.5 or 9, I don't know how I can't go over. So we're going to hold back on that for now. I just wanted to mention it because the World Series is coming. But wise guys, I'll give you some of their games right now. East Carolina -6. The game went to 6.5. I have them, I want to say, again, you'll have to get the analysis. Don't hold me to this. I have them about 13 or 14. I have them, so I agree totally with East Carolina. They put an early play in on Kansas State, but there's been some buyback on Kansas. My number was slightly favoring Kansas State, but with the buyback, I'm holding off. But so you get wise guy action both ways. Mm-hmm. Same thing with the LSU A&M game. Somebody took, one of the wise guys took A&M, and then there was a buyback on LSU. And I respect both sides. That's the problem. So to me, I exit out unless I come up with something. And I think they're just going for a middle. But you'll know that in the analysis. I always mention if it looks like a buyback for a number. Right. I think we told them USC already. Mm-hmm. Yes, we did. The wise guys are on USC. They're also on Bowling Green and under. I have a question mark next to it. That means I did handicap it, and I don't see what they see. It doesn't mean they're not right, and it doesn't mean I'm not going to play it. I'm just going to hold off for now. But Bowling Green and under is a wise guy play. Game 214, very hot game. It's Hawaii and Nevada. We've been good with both of those teams. I agree with the wise guys. Get on for game 214. It's Hawaii versus Nevada. There's a strong play there. That's it for the picks. Now, where do we go?
Go to questions again.
Questions and answers. No, we did comments. Sometimes they play out like questions, but
Right.
we appreciate the comments because typically, occasionally, I just got to scratch it out because they're nitpicking or they're telling me the score was 47 to 17, not 47 to 16. But I also get a lot of constructive criticism that I like. Yeah. Like one of our people that are part of the team said that we should look at the camera more. So yes. I've taken. I hope I looked more today, and that is sensible. But again, I don't have a teleprompter, so I have to look at my notes, and sometimes I wind up like reading, and then I forget. But it's a good point. Not to
get fidgety.
The Pope called me The Pope, he's one of our guys. Not the Pope from from Italy. The Pope from Daytona
Vatican.
Beach.
Yes.
He's one of my capos at IS, and he calls me every week with, I mentioned it one week where I called a barnyard brawl. It was the backyard thing, whatever. I called it wrong, and I had texts and I had messages, and he didn't stop until he got to let me know that.
Yes.
But he's a very honest man and a good friend.
Yes, he is.
So,
Oh, okay. So, Larry from Pompano. Larry, what's the odds on the election?
okay, you want to follow those odds? I told you that months ago, or on our first show, I think.
Right.
Trump is up to, they don't put it as Trump, so let me say it the right way. The Republican Party is minus 190. So, and I've seen 200 in places. Where it started out about 120, 130. So somehow or another, the odds makers are pumping up the Republican side. They're generally right. And I think I told this story, but I'm going to tell it again. Way back when George Bush won Desert Storm,
Yes.
he was 40-1 favorite. There was no way he can lose. I mean, it wasn't even a question. Throughout that summer, things happened. There's things that happen behind closed doors. There's things that happen that are underhanded or whatever. Things happen, okay? And I got it from my boss, Greg Scarpa, who was in bed with the government for 30 years. Again, that's not, everybody knows that now. Somewhere along the summer, he told me when we were sitting down watching the news that Bill Clinton's name came up on the news. And he went like that, that's your next president. I looked at him. When did you become, what's his name? Sean Hannity. You're in my head, I'm saying, what do you know about this? But I didn't know he's in bed with them. By November, not even, a little bit before that, by mid-October, it was pick'em. It went from you winning $40 to every dollar you bet on Clinton to having to put up $1 to get $1. So it was a toss-up. Bill Clinton won. So there's things that happen that we'll never know. So the same thing's happening here. But you got another 2 weeks. If it comes back down to 120, 130, maybe they're not going to have people monitoring the voting boxes. Maybe they're going to have trucks come in the middle of the night. Who knows?
Right.
Either way, that could happen. So you got to watch that line. It is minus 190, and that tells you a lot.
Okay, the second part to the question is, who are you voting for? First off.
Well, what?
Well, first off, you can't vote.
I know. Thank you.
I
can't carry a gun anymore either. I don't have my rights. I lost my rights because I'm a convicted felon, so I can't vote. All I can do is wear a certain color. Nah, but here's the thing. Here's what's funny about that. Not funny, sickening. One of the parties is promoting prisoners in jail to be able to vote. Illegal aliens that are coming across in hordes to be able to vote. I've been free how many years now? 22, 23 years. Mm-hmm. And I can't vote. Think about that. How come I can't vote? I'm in the general population, general public. I'm a citizen again.
Well, it affects you more than it does.
It affects me, but they want to allow somebody in jail to vote and let these other people vote. So there's something very strange there. But no, I can't vote, so I'm not. But listen, everybody knows what I'm voting for, what's best for me.
Okay. Tracy from Pensacola. Is Bama out?
We had him before. I think he asked me about Bama once before. I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes because there's going to be a lot of one-loss teams in the SEC. I'm pretty sure Georgia won't lose again, but they can. I'm pretty sure Tennessee, well, there's a couple of other teams there. Texas may run the table. Okay, so unless there's a bunch of two-loss teams, they're not going to come out of the SEC because other teams that have one loss or won their conferences, like Ohio State has one loss. They, so you can't put them ahead of them. Ohio State's going to still win out over them. Penn State hasn't lost yet. So there's a lot of teams. There's a lot to happen yet, but I don't think a 2-loss team is going to make it. And we talked about teams that are going to get in, like Liberty. They're playing tonight. And I predicted them to run the table. They're 5-0. They got a ways to go. I predicted them to win the conference, and I predicted they'll get in the playoffs because they want teams like that. They want Cinderella teams. So that's why this 12 games is good. But I think Bama's out, I'm sorry to say.
Okay. Johnny from New York. Who wins the World Series?
We talked about that. I don't know yet. I think the winner is going to be, I hope the winner is Major League Baseball and marketing and California and New York, even though I don't like both states anymore.
Don't hold
I
back
wish
now.
the Marlins were in it so I could root for my own state. But yeah, you're going to have to read the blog. I'll come up with something. I could take a team and then take the other team plus 1.5 in the series because I do believe it's going to go 7. I do believe that is the final straw that will make it a banner year or a banner postseason for Major League Baseball if it goes 7 games. That's a prop. You can bet that. And that I'll say. You'll get some kind of odds, and they're probably not going to get tremendous odds, but you may get 3 or 4 to 1 that it goes 7. Because typically, that's asking a lot. Sometimes 4-2, 4-1, it may not be that high. Anyway, but that's what I would bet right now.
Okay, I'm not sure I'm going to say this name right, but what do you think of Tua?
Tua.
Tua's comments about the concussion.
Yeah, there's been a lot on the news the last couple of days. He's been cleared, I'm pretty sure, to practice and potentially play this week or the following week. He's cleared, but he's still some ramifications. I don't know if it's this week, but he's cleared the protocol, the concussion protocol. He came out and made statements that he's going to play if he can play. And he will play if it kills him. That's a bold statement. That's maybe...
He's young.
Yeah, but listen, but here's the thing. Why are the news people up in arms about that? Why are they so concerned? Why are they going to try to make a decision for him? Because I guarantee you, a lot of those news people are pro do what you want with your body.
Right.
Okay, so if you're pro do what you want with your body, shut up and let him do what he wants with his body. He's a grown man. He's young, but he's a grown man. He should make his own decision.
Correct. Okay. Oh, we kind of answered that one already. So we have someone, I did not write down where they were from. We have someone who was coming on vacation to South Florida and asked if there's any suggestions where to eat. They said that you talked a lot about going out to eat in your book.
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts?
Oh, that's got to be Vinny Boombots from Brooklyn.
Probably is Vinny, probably.
Yeah, you didn't get his name, but okay. In the book, yeah. I mean, New York. How could I not have restaurants? There's mouth-watering places. Peter Luger's. What was the Italian place? Volare. The best Chinese places. Brandon and Carr.
What was the one that you would go to? It was half Chinese, half Italian.
Oh, that didn't last too long, but it was Pasquale and Wang.
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good concept, but it didn't last too long. Yeah, tons of restaurants in there. So if I had to pick places for you in Florida, you said South Florida?
South
I guess,
Florida.
yeah, okay. So I'm going to assume that's in the Palm Beach.
Miami, maybe somewhere.
Yeah,
along
I
that
can't go
border.
down to Miami because I don't like Miami. It's too young for me. Too young. The crowds are different. Anyway, I like Lauderdale. I like Palm Beach. All the way up to Stewart and
Boca,
yeah, Boca. So I'll name a few. First, we'll work our way south. I got my friend Joe from Tutta Fresco.
Yes.
Okay? You'll be treated like family. I mean, I can't walk in there and not get kissed by 6 guys. Because they
Really?
just, yeah. Well, I mean, that kiss of respect and friendship, and it's
get it.
mutual. Joe's an old friend from New York, if you know what I mean. So that's a great place. And it's right off the highway in Port St. Lucie. Go a little bit east and head south, you got a dear friend, Jimmy Fantini. Fantini's restaurant, same thing. You'll be treated like you're my brother. Mention me. I actually have a bar stool in there with my name on it because I did a book signing there, and we had my dear friend Carlos Carr perform there. Sinatra, the best Sinatra guy you'll ever hear. And those are two places, close friends. Head a little further south, right on PGA, there's a ton of restaurants you can go to. You know, it used to be Vic and Angelo's, an old friends. That's a decent place. Carmine's, friend of ours. That's, you know, we get treated real well there.
Oh, what, Spoto's?
Spoto's is a great place for seafood. As a matter of fact, they got oysters and clams on ice, and out of the ceiling down the wall, the ice keeps falling out. So you know it's cold and fresh. Let's go a little further south. To Boca, you got Abe and Louie's, you got Gallagher's. My friend Chris is the bartender there, and Christopher, and he takes real good care of us. There's the Meeting House right in the hotel.
No, but what was the Italian restaurant right there on the corner? It wasn't on the corner. It's in the. I can't think. A really nice Italian.
La Valletta?
Yes.
La Valletta is also in the Boca area. Head a little further south, and we're not going to go too much further south. You got. Noodles Panini.
Yes.
Noodles Panini. Maybe the best meatballs out of every place I just mentioned, and they all have great meatballs. But Noodles Panini, Brent is the owner. Mention Larry and Kelly. You'll be treated like a brother or a sister. We don't have the name, I'm assuming it's a guy. And his food is fantastic. It took me a long time to go in there because of the name, Noodles Panini. But then when I saw the menu, I said, we got to go. We went, met the owner, and he become a friend. So that's another great place. That's just the tip of the iceberg. I could go on and on and on, but if you do come, reach out to us and I'll meet you there.
Yeah, be more specific about what area you're going to. All right, the last question of the day. What do you think about LeBron James and his son?
Well, I guess they mean playing together.
Yes.
Well, it's a historical moment.
Is this the first time that
in the NBA, yes. Okay. In the NBA, yes. In baseball, it happened with the Ken Griffey Jr. and Sr. They played together.
On the same team?
They played together, and it was done for that reason. The last year, they brought I guess they brought the father onto a team, or they put Ken Griffey. I forget how it happened, but they put them together so it could happen. There were tons of brothers that played together, father and sons, like the Bonds. They didn't play together, but they were both superstars. No, this is a historical moment. As far as gambling in this show, it doesn't mean too much. I don't know how good the kid is yet.
Right.
I don't know if he's going to help his father on the court or be a hindrance because, you know, out of all the teams that took him, it was the Lakers. That's a bit of a coincidence to me. So I don't know how good he is. I'm going to have to see that. But it's a great marketing thing. I was interested. I want to find out the stats. I didn't have time today. But it's certainly not a bad thing. But as far as I'm concerned, it's going to be a handicapping tool for me. But yeah, that's about it.
That's it. That's all we got today.
No more questions?
Well, I did have a few women that asked, how come you keep getting better looking with age? Every picture they see of you when you were young were so good looking.
And that comes from every woman, not just a certain one?
No, actually, it was more than one, so I just made that a category as we discussed.
Yeah, but
before.
Meanwhile, they're asking you to be on the show. Somebody likes you, too.
That's okay.
All right. No. Well, thank you for watching. Stay on board with Inside Straight. Be straightened out. Get straightened out. You don't have to kill anybody. You just have to join and be a winner.
Goodbye.